or you can call me Jutter. Oh, okay. Jutter, I was hearing about Nostradamus and the end of the world, and what can you tell me about that? You're a little young to be worried about that. Okay, have a seat over there. Let me think how to put this best. Okay. Dreams. You know, when I was your age, I had a dream too. I dreamed the World Trade Center in New York would be destroyed. I was 6. It was 1976. Everyone laughed and said, "Never happened, kid." And then in 2001, when it did, they stopped laughing. I've had terrible dreams like this for most of my life. I've dreamed all the events of wars to come that still haven't happened. There are 3 events I have dreamed that have not taken place as yet, which I would almost like to see never happen, but they are dreams, like the others. The first is the destruction of an aircraft carrier of the United States Navy. Now, people would say, how could that happen? That would never take place, this and this and so on and so forth. I'm not the only one who dreamed it. The Queen of England dreamed it. And the Queen of England told me she dreamed it back in the 80s when I talked to her. This was a sharing of dreams when we suddenly realized we had dreamed the same events. So one of the questions is, when multiple psychics dream the same event, can it be changed, or must it happen? This is something I still don't know, to be honest. Now, the second terrible thing we've dreamed is the destruction of the state of Hawaii. It was nuked. Now, that nuke could come from several places. Today, these events seem like they could almost happen tomorrow. The third terrible event coincides with Nostradamus, the destruction of the new city. I dreamed a nuclear explosion happened of the Freedom Tower, the gold-plated Freedom Tower, or as it happens, maybe it's just the sun reflecting across the glass plates, but there's a gold peak on a tower that was constructed after the destruction of the World Trade Center, and a nuke explodes, taking away the city on that tower. These are 3 events that lead up to what Nostradamus predicted and may even be included in his quatrains. They have yet to happen. Jutter, I was talking with a very wise man, and he was talking about Nostradamus, the end of the world, and fate and dreams and all that. And he kept saying how everything could be changed. That's true. But we're small little people. How can we change such great, terrible things? Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at nature? Yes? Have you ever looked at the forces of nature? Have you ever looked at, like, an avalanche? Yes. Well, every avalanche started with some small thing moving, changing. Every great thing that nature can do, whether it be a volcano erupting, started with a small spark somewhere. That's a lot of it. It's not look at the huge picture and see what you can do with it. It starts small, because change happens every day from small events. Now, whether or not one person can quietly sit and live their life and affect the lives of others, that is unknown. Sometimes people view it that way, as though one person's life is connected to another, and that is fate in a great tangled web. If it's true or not, no one knows. The main thing is, if you want to change terrible events, it's better to try and live your life in the way of God, in the way of light, and trying to live your life for the best you, and try to better yourselves and your community and the world around you. As an entertainer, it's better to try and entertain and be out there in the world making an actual positive change, as opposed to sitting around and doing nothing. This is part of it. Do I know if it's all of it? No, I do not. I don't know what events might actually change the events I have dreamed, or if they even can be changed. But that's not important, because what is important is my life today, how I live day by day. That is part of what changes. If a life can't live, and then suddenly can, maybe that small spark will change something in the greater picture. But no one knows. You can't change anything in the future without changing my life. Because for the start, I have to begin. With many things, many women have asked me many questions about all of this great nonsense. All I needed to do was marry me, live happily, raise children, and have a family, and live a normal life, and forget all this nonsense. And maybe even in forgetting it, it would have created something positive. Can living quietly change the events of the world? Hard to say. What can change them is every small stone that moves. Like, for example, what are the events that led up to the current person in power? What happens if people vote for the wrong person? That's questions. Questions that only time can answer. But if you try to change the small parts first, the greater parts fall into place. You should never worry about changing anything, because how can you? Are you psychic? Do you have power? Are you a god? Even if you were, you would have to include other people. We are a lattice structure. We are connected. One person cannot do anything. They look at me and say, "You're here to destroy the world." I'm not. They look at me as if it's a cartoon, if it's a comic book. Turn the page. Girl looks at Jutter Kane, says, "Destroy the world." Turn the page. Big nuclear explosion. Destroy the dead world. Destroy destruction. Turn the page again. Jutter walks back to girl and says, "What do you want to do tonight?" It's not a joke, though they often treat it that way. I was never here to destroy Earth. If I was here to destroy Earth, it would have been destroyed many, many, many years ago, back when I was 6. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to entertain, to live my life, and to try and affect change in a positive way. Now, if you would look at me from a death destruction point, what am I here to destroy? No, the country I'm standing in. But I'm not meant to do that. That's just what will happen if nothing ever changes in my life. Which is like, go ahead, die today. Okay, your country is destroyed because you couldn't change it. Okay, so let's just take a gun and commit suicide. Bang! See, now the world is destroyed. It's that simple. It's that stupid. Which is why I've never listened to anybody's crap. Okay? So it's more about living and creating than it is about anything else. It's never about destruction. Why would it be so? If anyone wanted to say, okay, destroy the world, okay, give me a gun, okay, put it to my head, okay, bang, I'm dead. Okay, the world was destroyed. Simple. Easy. Am I someone who would ever commit suicide? No. I've lived through rape, I've lived through torture, I've lived through destruction, I've lived through broken hearts, I've lived through death, I've lived through everything there is to live through, including being disowned. There is nothing you could do to me that they haven't already done. What do I care? Go ahead, kill me today. It doesn't matter. It's all just hell and brimstone and fire and death. Now, if anyone ever created something good or positive in my life, I might fall dead of shock. But that's neither here nor there. The main thing is, can anything be changed? Can my life start to live? Will people stop treating me like shit? Would I get an agent who actually represented me and cared about my future and then went off and did the future that I've been doing when I was 17? That's a positive change. It might affect change in my greater perspective. If that can never happen, if I can never publish a book, if I can never be an actor, if I can never be married, if I can never have a child, if I can never live my life, then yeah, most likely your entire planet will be destroyed, or your country will be destroyed. And destroying a planet, if God wanted to destroy the planet, he'd just throw another asteroid like he did the dinosaurs. And what do we care? We're just horsemen. We're not here to destroy. If we were here to destroy, it would be destroyed before we were even 5, because that's the kind of power we wield. If you want to see changes in dreams, if you want to dream a different future and create a different possibility, so you rewrite the quatrains of Nostradamus in a different way, and maybe the earth will take a different point, you have to tie that to something. You can't tie that to, Chris is single, he can never live a life, he can never be anything, he can never do anything, he can never be married, he can never have children. You have to have a wife, you have to have a child. That's tying it to something. That's saying, okay, you're married and you have a child, and now it's tied to events in your life. And now maybe the world will change. Things like that don't happen, change will never take place. It's simple life. The question is, can the thing which no one wants, no one talks to, no one speaks to, no one ever does anything with, because they're all drunk, can that ever live? If it can, if it can find someone who can appreciate it, then perhaps life can change. If I can change, if my life can change, maybe the world can. But people make bad decisions. Satan has incredible control over every human being on earth. And on top of which, you have the bad people that I have taken down, who were controlling and mind fucking every single person on the planet. Or every single person that knew me. And the more they try and control everything, the more Satan controls them, the more they control everything, the more Satan controls everything. Everyone just sat there and played, let's be a little puppet marionette, instead of trying to live their life. That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is the choices I've made. I mean, those women are not exactly women to care about in the first place. You'd think they would be. But I guess someone born in Beverly Hills will never understand anything other than Beverly Hills. The rich and powerful who were born rich, who never had to do anything for it a day in their life, could never comprehend someone who wasn't born